Good day, everyone. Today, we will discuss Unit 1, Introduction to Transportation Planning and Engineering. But before I proceed, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kate Anbaha, and I hope everyone is safe and doing really good. So, let's start. Overview. This unit will explore what is in transportation planning, and transportation engineering, together with its importance. This unit will introduce transportation engineers as a profession. Furthermore, this unit will break down the basic elements of transportation planning. Intended learning. At the end of the unit, I should be able to define concept of transportation, transportation planning, and transportation engineering, study the importance of transportation planning, introduce transportation engineers' duties, and be familiar with the basic elements of transportation planning. Let's proceed to the lesson proper. Transportation. Transportation is essential for nations' development and growth. In both the public and private sectors, opportunities for engineering careers in transportation are exciting and rewarding. Elements are constantly being added to the world's highway, rail, airports, and mass transit systems, and new techniques are being applied for operating and maintaining the systems safely and economically. Many organizations and agencies exist to plan, design, build, operate, and maintain nations' transportation system. So, what is transportation? A transportation, it is the movement of goods and persons from place to place. Kapag efficient ang transportation system, they provide economic and social opportunities and benefits that can result into a positive multiplier effects like better employment, accessibilities to market, and additional investment. That is why transport sector is an important component of the economy and a common tool used for development. Next, the primary need for transportation has been economic, involving personal travel in search of food or work. Halimbawa, sa mga social media influencer, di ba nagtatravel sila for reviewing the different places or trying different food, lalo na yung mga food blogger. Travel for exchange of goods and commodities. So, halimbawa nito sa pag-export ng mga goods like coconut oil and banana. Exploration. So, ang purpose naman nito is para makadiscover ng mga new informations or new resources. Personal fulfillment. Personal purposes, for example, na lang kapag kami mga gusto tayong puntahan or magawa. And the improvement of a society or a nations. The movements of people and goods, which is the basis of transportations, always has been undertaken to accomplish those basic objectives or tasks that require transfer from one location to another. So, transportation has played a significant role by facilitating trade, commerce, conquest, and social interactions while consuming a considerable portion of time and resources. Transport. Transport is a science that concerns with the efficient movement of people and goods that is undertaken to accomplish objectives to complete tasks that require transfer from one place to another, or from one location to another. Transport or transportation is the easiest way of movement of humans, animals, and goods from one location to another. In other words, the actions of transport is defined as a particular movement of an organism or thing from point a place in space, to point B. If walang transportation, how can we really easy travel, move, and transported? In other terms, it's vital for the well-functioning of economic activities. For example na lang, yung mga gulay sa tumana. Diba, kunyari, pag natapos na yung kuhanin sa mga gulay sa tumana, kunyari pitasin, diba dinadala yun sa market? So, ginagamit tayo din ng transport. Next. Modes of transport includes air. Mga sakyan dito sa air is, for example, mga airplane, jet. Sa land naman, dito mapasok yung mga rail and road. Dito mapasok yung mga buses, jeep, van, tricycle, bike. Then for water, dito mapasok yung mga cruise ship, boats, jet ski. Sa cable, yung mga cable cars. Sa mga pipeline, ginagamit siya for transporting liquids like petroleum or water. And next is space. Space shuttles. So next. The field can be divided into infrastructures, vehicles, and operations. So ito yung mga tinatawag na mga elements. So for infrastructure, transport infrastructure consists of the fixed installations including roads, railways, airways, waterways, canals, and pipelines, and terminals such as airports, railway stations, bus stations, warehouses, trucking terminals, refueling depots, including fuel docks and fuel stations, and seaports. Terminals may be used for both interchange of passengers and cargo and for maintenance. So, why transport infrastructures is important? Because it is added to the speed and efficiency to the country's progress, having a connectivity in the rural and urban areas. The next element is vehicles. Vehicles traveling on these networks may include automobiles, bicycles, buses, train, trucks, helicopters, watercraft, spacecraft, and aircraft. So vehicle, ito yung mga non-living devices that is used to move people and goods. So ito yung mga ginagamit natin para syempre makapunta tayo sa mga pupuntahan natin. So the third element is operations. Operations deal with the way the vehicles are operated and the procedure sets for these purposes, including financing, legalities, and policies. In the transport industry, operations and ownership of infrastructures can be either public or private, depending on the country and mode. So, kapag ka mga private transport, the owner of the vehicle is the one who operates the vehicle themselves. So, for public transport naman, operations are done through the private enterprise or by the government. Let's proceed to the transportation planning. Transportation planning is defined as a process of moving goods and human beings and sometimes even animals to their destination. It is referred to as collaborative process of identifying future designs, goals, and policies of transport facilities. Transportation planning is involved with designing, assessment, and evaluation of various transport facilities like public transport lines, bike lanes, highways, and streets. Increased usage of research in recent years seeks to optimize the system performance for achieving more significant advantages from the facilities. Siyempre, hindi basta-basta gumagawa ng isang transportation, kaya meron tayong transportation planning process, which tinitingnan dito yung mga iba't ibang aspect like the operation, provision, and management of facilities and service for the mode of transport para ma-achieve natin ang safer, faster, comfortable, convenient, economical, and environment-friendly movement of people and goods. And of course, transport planning. It is a prediction of the usage demand in the future travel and to ensure that all necessary facilities and service to cater to that demand. Next, the process of transportation planning involves the elements of situations and problem definition, search for solutions and performance analysis, as well as evaluations and choice of project. The process is useful for describing the effects of a proposed transportation alternative and for explaining the benefits to the traveler of a new transportation system and its impact on the community. The highway and traffic engineers is responsible for developing forecasts of travel demand, conducting evaluations based on economic and non-economic factors, and identifying alternatives for short, medium, and long-range purposes. So, syempre, sa process ng isang transportation planning, involved din dito yung mga various agencies and organizations para sa success ng transportation planning. Pumapasok din dito yung mga governing bodies that sila yung nag-i-examine ng mga demographic characteristic, travel pattern for a given area, at sila din yung nag-check on how this characteristic will damage the given period of time. In short, transportation planning must cover all aspects of city life. Dito pumapasok yung mga economic development, quality of life, health of public, and environment. And for transportation planners and engineers, dapat nakapokus tayo on how the movement of people and goods across the country will be efficient. So, syempre, sa pag-form ng isang transportation system, it is about improvement. Sabi nga, improvement is the key. Improvement sa traffic flow and safety, energy consumptions, and travel time. So in conclusion, like what I said earlier, it is essential in shaping cities, enabling economic activities, promoting community interaction, and most importantly, enhancing the quality of life, and also essentials for sustainable development and ensuring the safety ng lahat ng tao. So thank you for listening, and ang next na i-report is about basic elements of transportation planning.
Good day everyone, I am Angeline May O. Ayuso and my report is about basic elements of transportation planning. The transportation planning process comprises 7 basic elements which are interrelated and not necessarily carried out sequentially. Knowledge gained at one point of the process may be beneficial at any earlier or later period because there is a consistency of effort that should ultimately result in a decision. The elements in the process are situation definition, problem definition, search for solutions, analysis of performance, evaluation of alternatives, choice of project, and specification and construction. The first step in planning process is situation definition, which involves all the activities required to understand the situation that gave rise to perceived need for the transportation improvement. At this point, the basic factors that have produced the current situation are defined and the scope of the framework to be analyzed is illustrated. For example, a new bridge is being considered. Situation definition involves developing a description of the present highway and transportation services in the region, measuring present travel patterns and highway traffic volumes, and reviewing prior studies, geological maps, and soil conditions. The second step in planning process is problem definition. The goal of this step is to define the issue in terms of the objectives to achieve by the project and to translate those objectives into criteria that can be quantified. Objectives are statements of purpose, such as to reduce traffic congestion, to improve safety, to maximize net highway user, and to reduce noise, while criteria are the measures of effectiveness, that can be used to quantify the extent to which a proposed transportation project will achieve the stated objectives. Referring to example of a new bridge is being considered, an objective for the bridge project might be to reduce travel congestion on other roads or to reduce travel time between certain areas. The criterion used to measure how well these objectives are achieved is average delay or average travel time. Constraints placed on the project might be physical limitations such as the presence of other structures, topography, or historic buildings. Design standards for bridge width, clearances, loadings, and capacity also should be noted. The third step is search for solutions. At this point of planning process, consideration is given to a number of proposals, designs, location, and device configurations that can provide solutions to problems. This is the brainstorming stage in which a number of options may be proposed on testing and evaluations. This phase also includes preliminary feasibility studies, which might narrow the range of choices to those that appear most promising. For example, in the case of bridge project, a variety of possibilities may also be considered, including different locations and bridge types. The analysis could also involve the possibility of not constructing a bridge and should also be considered other options available, such as a tunnel or an alternate route. And operational policies should be considered, including different types of toll charges and collection procedures.
My name is Carjan G. Arenas, and I'll be continuing the report in basic elements of transportation planning. Analysis of performance. The purpose of performance analysis is to estimate how each of the proposed alternatives would perform under present and future conditions. So, dito sa pag-analyze ng performance, meron tayong mga steps. Una na nga dito is yung cost. Sa cost, alamin natin kung magkano yung kailangan na investment sa pag-build ng project at yung annual na kailangan para sa maintenance and operation. Next is estimating travel demand. So dito naman, we will determine the number of person or vehicles that will use the system. So, alamin natin kung ilan yung nagdadaan na tao o sasakyan. Next, present to as vehicles per hour or person per hour. Kasama sa determine dito is yung trip length, travel by time of day, and vehicle occupancy. Last is environmental effects of the transportation project. Dito, determine natin yung noise and air pollution levels and kung gaano kaluwang na lupa yung kailangan natin. Evaluation of alternatives. The purpose of the evaluation phase is to determine how well each alternative will achieve the objectives of the project as defined by the criteria. Dito sa evaluation of alternatives, i-determine natin kung na-achieve ba ng alternative natin yung objectives ng project natin. The performance data produced in the analysis phase are used to compute the benefits and costs that will result if the project is selected. Sa pag-evaluate, kino-compute yung benefit and cost ng bawat project based dun sa data na nakuha sa pag-analyze ng performance nila. Tapos, pagkukumparahin yung mga project para mabigyan sila ng ranking. Next is choice of project. Project selection is made after considering all the factors involved. In a simple situation, for example, where all the project has been authorized and it is in the design phase, a single criterion such as cost might be used and the chosen project would be the one with the lowest cost. If the project involves a community, it may be necessary to hold additional public hearings. A bond issue or referendum may be required. It is possible that none of the alternatives will meet the criteria or standards, and additional investigation will be necessary. Before deciding whether or not to build the proposed bridge, Decision makers look carefully at the revenue cost forecast and would likely consider projects that appear to be financially sound. The site location is selected based on a careful study of the factors involved. The information gathered in the earlier phases would be used, together with engineering judgment and political consideration, to arrive at final project selection. Last is specification and construction. Once the transportation project has been selected, the project moves into a detailed design phase in which each of the components of the facility is specified. For a transportation facility, this involves its physical location, geometric dimension, and structural configuration. Design plans are produced that can be used by the contractors to estimate the cost of building the project. When a construction firm is selected, these plans will be the basis on which the project will be built. For the bridge project, once a decision to proceed has been made, a design is produced that includes the type of superstructure, piers and foundation, roadway widths, and approach treatment, as well as appurtenances such as toll booths, traffic signals, and lighting. These plans are made available to contractors who submit bids for the construction of the bridge. If a bid does not exceed the amount of funds available and the contractor is deemed qualified to do the work, the project proceeds to the construction phase. Upon completion, the new bridge is turned over to the local transportation authority for operation and maintenance.
Hello everyone, I am Sharamay Antonio and I'm going to discuss the importance of transportation planning and advantages of transportation planning. It is essential to address the various transportation planning challenges to create a better plan for the future. Some of them are as follows: minimizing the impact on climate change, good choices, and air quality. Minimizing the impact on climate change. Reducing the air pollution is the best interest of everyone in the world. So, the people who are involved in the transportation planning has a responsibility to enhance and improve the transportation technology that people are currently using so that it will lead to less air pollution. Less air pollution means slowing down climate change that severely affects everyone. So, it is important to find a better alternative of less polluting methods of transportation. Good choices. Having choices is a must for basically everything, especially for the mode of transportation that people uses. Because not everyone will find using a public bus or a taxi car as a viable option. Not everyone is the same in their choice of mode of transportation. It may be because of health concerns or other reasons. Whatever the case may be, having different options of transportation to pick from is important to people. And air quality, transportation planning process is important because hopefully it will lead to the reduction of air pollution and improve air quality. Also, air pollution is the main reason that we have climate change, and climate change should be taken seriously because it affects the future of every people and because it negatively affects our world. Transportation planning, hopefully, it will help in solving the problems of air pollution and in turn help us have a better future. And here are the advantages of transportation planning. First advantage is transportation planning can identify the existing deficiencies in the system and make viable changes to address the issues for the future. Transportation planning will be able to point out the things that are needed to be changed and improved so there will be less issues in the system in the future. Next advantage is an efficient transportation planning minimizes the chances of accidents and mishaps on the route. An effective and efficient transportation planning should be able to minimize and lessen the chances of accidents so that people traveling will be able to get to wherever they are going to safely. Third advantage is it provides alternative strategies to solve transportation problems. There should always be multiple options regarding the mode of transportation that people are able to pick from so that people will have the ability to choose their preferred transportation mode, be it for convenience or other reasons. This will in turn solve most of all the transportation problems. Next advantage is a completed transportation planning process communicates the desire and direction of the state for progress. Basically, the transportation planning process should be able to communicate to everyone that the state is trying to make progress to build a better future and that it has a direction and plans to make it a reality. Next advantage is a proper transportation planning process assists in shaping the economic quality of life because it can enhance the mobility of goods and people. One of the main reasons the transportation planning is necessity is because it is needed to enhance the mobility of goods and people. And when mobility is enhanced, so does the economic quality of life, in which faster transportation means more opportunities for business, which means more opportunities to make money. Next advantage is it offers access to land and influences the pattern of economic activity and growth in an area. Access to land opens up an opportunity for economic growth, and easier access to an area leads to better opportunities, which then affects the economic activity and growth of the area. Basically, access leads to opportunities that leads to economic growth. Next advantage is effective transportation planning brings about an overall improvement in an area. An effective and efficient transportation planning brings about an overall improvement to an area because everything that people does is connected to their mode of transportation. If an area has an effective mode of transportation, it will lead to better opportunities and better use of their time rather than using most of their time on the road. Having an effective transportation leads to improving all aspects of an area. Next advantage is transportation planning is beneficial because it ensures that any hazardous conditions are updated at regular intervals. Transportation planning is beneficial because authorities will be able to update the people on any situation regularly and will be able to warn and advise people on what to do to avoid the hazardous conditions. Basically, it is beneficial because it will lead to less accidents. And last advantage is a useful transportation planning has to improve the comfort and safety of people and even animals. One of the most important thing a transportation planning should be able to do is to lessen the stress and danger for the people and even animals too. Comfort and safety of the people is one of the most important thing because transportation planning was made so that people using the roads or any other mode of transportation will be able to relax and feel safe while traveling.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carlo Angeles, and I'm going to report about transportation engineering. So first is what is transportation engineering? It is a subdiscipline of civil engineering which deals with the application of technology and scientific principles to the planning, functional design, operation, and management of facilities for any mode of transportation in order to provide a safe, rapid, comfortable, convenient, economical, and environmentally compatible movement of people and goods. So it says that transportation engineering is about the movement or how to efficiently transport human and goods from one place to another. So another definition is also defined as the application of the principles of engineering, planning, analysis, and design to the disciplines comprising transportation. Its vehicles, its physical infrastructure, safety in travel, environmental impacts, and energy usage. So, in addition, transportation engineer is broad career field with positions available in both the public and private sector. Transportation engineer may work for government, vehicle manufacturing companies, airline companies, railroad companies, and traffic businesses. Transportation engineering also primarily involves planning, design, construction, maintenance, and operation of transportation facilities. The facilities support air, highway, railroad, pipeline, water, and even space transportation. So it says that transportation engineering is not about only in land. So it can be in air, it can be in railroad, it can be in water, and even in space transportation. So in short, transportation engineering is anything that transport human, anything that transport human or goods from one place to another. So next is field of transportation engineering, like highway and roads, traffic control system, public transit system, railroad and depot, seaports, waterways, airports, bridges, pavements, and pavements. So these are some of the things that pwede mong applyan ng knowledge mo about transportation engineering. So next is, what are the issues in transportation engineering? One is the managing proper maintenance of the roadways. Ito, napaka-common sa atin ito. Wherein, meron tayong mga nire-reconstruct na kalsada that takes a month to reconstruct. So, it needs to have managing proper maintenance of the roadway. Next is handling traffic flow to minimize congestion, preventing transportation accident, selecting the appropriate pavement and other materials for roads, highways, and other types of construction, determining the fastest way to transport goods, ensuring compliance with state and federal construction policies. So, those are things that we must consider. Dapat yung mga bagay na kailangan natin solusyonan once na ma-encounter natin. And the next is about transportation engineering must consider the following. So before planning, you must consider some things in order to make a plan. First is the population. Second is land use, transportation qualities and services, economic activity, travel patterns and volumes, regional financial resources, community values and expectation, law, and ordinance. So those are things that we must consider before planning or before doing project in a particular area. And that's the end of my report. Thank you for listening.